It's Friday, it's 8:30, and you're watching Drinks Coach, and my name is Joe Wadsack. Today is World Sauvignon Blanc Day. Who knew that existed, eh? Good job it's a Friday and not a Monday. So, I've been kind of dreading doing this one because everyone drinks Sauvignon Blanc, everyone does. And some people drink Sauvignon Blanc that don't drink anything else. I've asked so many people, what's your favourite wine? Ooh, I love a Sauvignon Blanc. If you've run out of Sauvignon, what do you drink? Gin and tonic. It's kind of like that. It's because it's so tropical and so juicy. It's almost like a cocktail. It's kind of a white wine for people that aren't really into wine that much in some ways. But having said that, being into wine, I like them too. Don't get me wrong. So there's quite a lot to tell you about Sauvignon Blanc. But I've chosen three varieties here, or three bottles here, which one comes from where they started. One is how Sauvignon Blanc became popular in this country. And one is, I think, where it's going to. So this could be interesting. Sauvignon Blanc, where's it from originally? Any eggheads out there? Pub quiz? Not the Loire, as a lot of people think, but actually it's from Bordeaux. It started off as a mutation of a red grape variety, probably with the help of another variety that came in from east of France called Sauvignon. But ultimately, Sauvignon Blanc hadn't been seen until the early 18th century, and suddenly it started cropping up as a white mutation in Bordeaux vineyards, and people liked it. And that's all she wrote, as they say. It then became quite popular and started being planted in other places. Obviously, as the world starts to warm up, grape varieties tend to go further north. And the Loire has found its natural sort of kind of place with Sauvignon Blanc. If you go to central Loire, where Sancerre and Puy-Fumé come from, that's really where we consider the finest Sauvignons in Europe to come from. And it wasn't until the 80s that New Zealand started to make a thing out of it. There was a company called Montana that had to change its name to Brancott Estate because it was selling a lot of wine in America, and you can't trademark a wine after the name of a state. So they had to change the name. So now everyone calls it Brancott Estate. They made a wine in the 80s. I think it was 1986, and it made everyone go bonkers. It was $3.99. It was utterly delicious. It was the first time that anybody had seen a white wine that just like drinking Um Bongo for grown-ups. For those people who don't remember Um Bongo, it's like kind of a multi-tropical fruited juice, and it was just so satisfying. And that's really where it all started. Why does it taste like that? Well, it's climatic conditions up to a point, but it's also a winemaking process. So first of all, you have to have lots of sun. The sun makes the vines grow into an umbrella of leaves which shade the grapes. So the sun doesn't get straight on the grapes, which means the grapes always leave a little green tang in them. And that's where the greenness comes from, the herbaceousness. But also the essential oil side of it, the aromatic side of it, comes from selecting special yeasts, which is something we've only been known about scientifically for the last 20 or 30 years, in any real proper sense. But also a couple of Australian geniuses, winemakers back in the day, Len Evans and Brian Crozer, were pissing about in a chateau in Grave in Bordeaux called Chateau Raoul in 1972, and they decided to soak the skins of the pressed Sauvignon Blanc in the juice like a red wine just for a few hours before it started fermenting. The French call this macération pelliculaire. We call it skin contact. So it was a couple of Australians horsing around in Bordeaux that created world-class wine regions out of the Loire in New Zealand. Small world, huh? So, first wine. This is from Bordeaux. This is made by a company called Dourthe. Dourthe. Sorry, this place is lit up like a Christmas tree because it's dark outside. But this is a Sauvignon Blanc from Bordeaux, and Dourthe are world-class, consistent Sauvignon Blanc growers on a grand scale. They also, as a company, own chateaux themselves, and they're quite a special outfit. This wine is named after the soil it's grown on. It's kind of a series which they call terroir d'exception, or soils of quality, or soils of standout soils. And it's called Roqueblanche, which is a white, chalky limestone base, which is perfectly suited to the variety. Well, it's lovely. It tastes like Bordeaux. That's the most important thing. It doesn't start off... New Zealand Sauvignon is like... It's like a rave. It's like laser lights and a floodlight in your face, like a torch. It's bright and... This is like lots of candles. It's a little bit more sophisticated, a bit more vavavoom. Thousands of candles. Very charming. Creeps up behind you. You taste this soft, round, juicy fruit, like pears, white pears. Then you get the taste and the grip of the sort of like sand from the soil, the chalkiness of it. And then it just floods you with fruit. It's delicious. and perfect with the oysters of the region, which are not half bad. Oysters on the half shell, Bordeaux Sauvignon Blanc, bada bing. So this one, the next one, is New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. It's made by a guy called Ben Glover, and it's called Bob, short for Kate. And Ben Glover is a bit of a hero. He made wine at Wither Hills, do you remember that? And then Mudhouse, two of vanguard huge producers that kind of changed the way that people saw New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc around the world. And now he's doing his own thing. It's 100% organic. Sadly, he lost his sister, Kate, to illness not long ago, and decided to name it after a quote from Blackadder. And it says Bob short for Kate. Well, in fact, in the show, if you remember Blackadder 2, a lady who's trying to pretend to be a boy gets asked by Blackadder, "What's your name?" Said, it's Kate. Well, that's a funny name for a boy. She goes, "Oh, it's short for Bob." And that's where the quote comes from. But this is New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc all over. This is a serious one, 14 or 15 pounds. Pay peanuts, get monkeys, ladies and gentlemen. If you buy good New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, you have to pay over a tenner now for it. And 15 plus is really where your money's at if you really want to enjoy something special. So, when I smell it, it's like an avalanche of tropical fruit. But it has a lovely reserve and tightness. This is 2019, so it's still like a cold spring. It hasn't started to evolve and create some sort of herby flavour. Sometimes it tastes a little bit like asparagus, actually, after a couple of years. But this wine has this tight green mango flavour. It'd be amazing with like what do you call it? A somtam salad or whatever they call it in Thai food with all the trimmings. Beautiful wine with Thai food. Great with Thai green curry, actually. But very, very different to the first one. The first one, gentle, round, gives you a cuddle. This one's more of a punch in the face. Very rock and roll wine. Very, very good example. Delicious, worth the money. Last wine. This is from South Africa. Diemsdal, Cape Town. This is a wine sold at Aldi for $6.99, and it's made by one of the absolute genius Sauvignon Blanc producers of South Africa. Taste Low, who's I think 9th generation, they've been making wine there for hundreds of years, has this beautiful homestead 25 minutes drive north of Cape Town in a place called Durbanville. Now, people who know South Africa a bit knows that Durban is a long way away from Cape Town, and it used to confuse people. So quite rightly, they've changed the name of the winemaking region. Now it's called DO Cape Town. So people are aware that it's almost made within the city limits. And the wines there, the Sauvignon Blancs he makes are unbelievable. Winter Sauvignon Blanc particularly. Trophy after trophy after trophy. But there's great Sauvignon Blancs all over South Africa now. David Nivut, who has a vineyard as far south as you can go in Elim, has a vineyard called Ghost Corner. I mean, those wines are super premium Puy-Fumé quality. Anyway, this is a Sauvignon Sémillon. I had to cheat because I couldn't find a Sauvignon Blanc pure. But it was really to tell you, Sauvignon Blanc in South Africa, sadly because their exchange rate is still so weak, it's one of the few exchange rates that are worse than ours, it's 18 rand a pound, we can still afford to buy really stunning wines in South Africa at the moment, at a time when they're making better wine than they ever have. And in fact, I think, pound for pound, the world's best wines are coming out of South Africa right now. Oh, it smells lovely. So pure. Pure smell of white Japanese new pear, sliced like pear fool, like a pear smoothie. And then there's sort of subtle nuttiness. I think this wine's had a little bit of barrel ferment. I don't know how they can afford that at $6.95. This wine's under £7, ladies and gentlemen. It's long, it's creamy, it reminds you of Sauvignon Blanc, it feels familiar. What can I say? That's incredible wine. So, where it started, what made us interested, where I think it's going. Drink it from anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Sauvignon Blanc never fails. Enjoy your weekend.